The Navy SEAL was bleeding out in Trauma Bay 1 when he whispered one sentence that froze the entire ER. "Don't let them treat me." Then his eyes rolled back. A monitor screamed, heart rate dropping, oxygen crashing. "Move," Dr. Grant Halverson barked, shoving his way through nurses like he owned the building. Tall, famous, the kind of surgeon who signed autographs after successful surgeries. He took one look at the patient and went pale. On the gurney lay a man built like war itself, mid-30s, tattooed forearms, dog tags still around his neck, soaked in blood, a black combat ring on his finger. He wasn't just a veteran, he was someone important. Security had already locked down the entrance. 2 armed guards stood by the bay doors. The charge nurse yelled into her radio. "Code Black, full lockdown, no one in or out." The hospital lights seemed colder under Code Black, like Mercy General wasn't a healing place anymore. It was a target. In the corner of the room stood Serena Blake, quiet night nurse, slim, dark hair pinned tight, calm eyes. She looked like she belonged in the background, the kind of nurse doctors forgot existed until they needed supplies. She was holding a tray of gauze and tubing, and she was being ignored again. Head nurse Marla Voss stepped into Serena's path, hissing, "What are you doing here? You're not ICU lead. Go mop something." Serena lowered her eyes. "Yes, ma'am." She stepped back like she was retreating, but inside, something in her chest tightened, because she recognized the wound pattern on that SEAL's torso, and it wasn't from a normal attack. It was a clean entry, surgical angle. Someone trained did this. Dr. Halverson snapped orders like bullets. 2 units O negative, intubate. I want OR ready in 5. A young resident, Dr. Klein, scoffed when he saw Serena. "Why is housekeeping in here?" A few nurses laughed, not loud, just enough. Serena didn't react. She simply watched the patient's neck, watched his breathing, watched the way his fingers twitched like he was still fighting something invisible. Then the SEAL suddenly surged up with terrifying strength, eyes wide, grabbing Halverson's collar. "Listen," he rasped. Blood bubbled from his lips. Halverson stiffened. "Sir, you're in shock. You need—" The SEAL jerked his head toward Serena. "Her," he wheezed. "Only her." The entire trauma bay went silent. Marla Voss laughed in disbelief. "What? That nurse doesn't even—" The SEAL snarled through pain, voice turning dark. "She saved me before." Serena's heart stopped. She had never met him, not here, not in this life. Halverson leaned closer. "Who are you? What unit?" The SEAL's eyes flashed with fear. "Ask her about Nightingale." Serena's fingers tightened on her tray. That word wasn't a nickname. It was an old code word, a classified one. Before anyone could speak, the ER lights flickered. Then every hallway monitor went black, and the intercom crackled with one chilling announcement. "Attention, lockdown breach, armed subject inside the hospital." Serena slowly lifted her head. Her face stayed calm, but her eyes changed, because she already knew exactly who came through that door. And it wasn't a random shooter. It was a retrieval team, coming for the SEAL, and maybe coming for her. Part 1 ended with the bay doors slamming open. 3 men in tactical gear stepped inside, and the first one said Serena's name like a death sentence. Blake. 2 hours earlier. Serena Blake was invisible on purpose. At 12:03 a.m., she pushed a supply cart down the ICU corridor with quiet wheels and quiet footsteps. The fluorescent lights washed her face pale. Her badge read Night Nurse. Nothing else. No accolades, no leadership title, no recognition. The doctors barely looked at her. That was fine. Serena liked it that way. Until head nurse Marla Voss decided to remind everyone who had power. Marla stood at the nurse station like a queen. Perfect makeup, perfect smile, sharp eyes that enjoyed breaking people. When Serena approached to sign out meds, Marla didn't even greet her. She slid a clipboard across the counter like Serena was beneath conversation. "You missed a linen count," Marla said. I didn't handle linens tonight." Marla smiled wider. "So now you're talking back." The young resident, Dr. Klein, leaned against the counter sipping coffee like it was a show. "Oh wow," he said. "The silent nurse speaks." A couple nurses laughed again. Serena swallowed. "I can fix it." Marla shoved a trash bag toward Serena. "Fix that first." Serena took the bag without argument. As she walked away, she heard Marla whisper loudly, "Some people aren't meant for critical care. They're meant for floors and garbage." Serena's jaw tightened for half a second, then relaxed. She dumped the trash, restocked the cart, did everything quietly, perfectly, because she knew a truth none of them did. Mercy General was not her first battlefield, and humiliation didn't scare her. At 1:17 a.m., Serena entered the medication room. She checked the narcotics cabinet, logged everything by the book. Her hands were steady, precise. A camera above the door blinked red. Serena glanced at it, just once, like she was acknowledging an old enemy. Then she turned back to her work. At 2:58 a.m., security guard Leon passed her in the hallway. "Evenin', Nurse Blake," he said kindly. "You holding up?" Serena nodded. "Yes." Leon lowered his voice. "You hear about the VIP arriving?" "No." Leon leaned closer. "Unmarked ambulance, military escort. Admin is nervous. Marla's on a power trip." Serena didn't respond, but her heartbeat shifted. Military escort at 2 a.m. didn't mean politician. It meant witness. It meant classified. It meant the kind of patient who wasn't allowed to exist on paperwork. At 2:06 a.m., Serena heard it. Not a scream, not an alarm, a sound most people wouldn't recognize. A hard, metallic click. The click of a rifle sling adjusting. Serena stopped walking. Her body went still, eyes narrowing. Then another sound. Boots. Not hospital shoes, not security's soft steps. Heavy, intentional, hunting. Serena moved to the corner and peeked. 2 men in dark clothing were walking down the corridor toward the ER entrance. No badges, no escort, no panic, just calm violence. Serena's stomach sank. They weren't here for drugs. They were here for a person. Serena stepped backward, quietly. She reached for the radio clipped near the nurse station. Before she could touch it, Marla appeared behind her, snapping. "What are you doing? Staring into space again?" Serena turned. I see someone is..." Marla waved her off. "If you're about to complain, don't. We're handling a VIP transfer. I need competent people, Serena." Serena's voice stayed low. "Those men aren't staff." Marla laughed. "And you suddenly know security protocol? Please, go clean something." Serena watched Marla walk away. Then Serena looked down at her own hands. One wrist had a faint scar line, thin, pale, a surgical scar, from a long time ago, from a place Mercy General had never heard of. She took a slow breath. Then she walked in the opposite direction, toward Trauma Bay 1, toward the incoming ambulance, toward the danger. Because if those men were here, then the person arriving was someone Serena once protected. And if that was true, the past wasn't buried anymore. It was walking through the hospital doors. Part 2 ended as Serena reached the Trauma Bay corridor and saw the first tactical man step inside. The men in tactical gear didn't rush. They didn't shout. They walked into Trauma Bay 1 like they owned the room, like this was not a hospital, like it was their extraction point. One of them, tall, helmeted, held a tablet with Mercy General's patient database open. Another carried a case that looked like medical equipment, but too heavy, too reinforced. Dr. Halverson stepped forward, trying to project authority. "This is a restricted area. Hospital security." The man cut him off cold. "We are security." Halverson blinked. "You're not on my roster." The man leaned slightly, voice calm. "You don't have a roster for us." A chill spread through the room. Charge Nurse Marla tried to regain control. "This is a medical emergency. Step back or I will—" The tactical man turned his head to her. Just that. Marla's voice died in her throat. Serena stood near the wall, silent, but her brain was moving fast. 3-man team, no visible insignia, no coordination with hospital command, tablet access already hacked, not government, private contractors, black ops cleanup. The SEAL on the gurney convulsed again. His hand shot up like he was reaching for something. His chest wound was worsening, blood soaking sheets like ink. Halverson looked torn between fear and ego. He turned to Serena with anger, like she caused the chaos. "Are you enjoying this? You're not even assigned to—" The SEAL rasped again. "Serena." Not nurse. Her name. Like he knew it in his bones. Serena stepped closer, ignoring Marla's glare. "I'm here," she said softly. The SEAL's eyes fought to focus. His lips trembled. "They'll finish it." Serena leaned in. Her voice barely moved air. "Who sent them?" The SEAL's eyelids fluttered. "Voss." Serena froze. "Marla Voss. Head nurse." Serena's gaze snapped to Marla. Marla's face hardened. Then she smiled. A small smile. The kind that said she'd been waiting for this moment. Halverson didn't hear the whisper. He was too busy with the vitals. "We're losing him," he shouted. "Prep OR now." The tactical men stepped closer to the gurney. "Negative," the leader said. "Patient comes with us." Halverson flared. "Over my dead body." The leader calmly lifted his shirt slightly, revealing a handgun. Not pointed, just shown. A silent threat. Halverson's arrogance cracked. The SEAL suddenly grabbed Serena's wrist with his last strength. His fingers were cold, trembling. Serena felt something press into her palm. A small object. A metal tag. Not his dog tag. Different. Encoded. Serena closed her fingers around it without looking. The SEAL whispered something else. A sentence that only Serena understood. "Bluebird doesn't fly without nightingale." Serena's throat tightened. That phrase was old. Old enough to belong to a classified operation that officially never happened. Halverson shouted, "We need consent." The SEAL snarled, eyes blazing. "No treatment from them." He pointed weakly at Halverson, at the staff, at the hospital. His breathing turned ragged. He was refusing help because he didn't trust the room, because he knew the hospital had been compromised. Marla stepped forward, voice sugary. "Serena, honey, step away. Let the doctors work. This is too much for you." Serena looked at her. Calm, unblinking. Then Serena slowly reached for the oxygen line, like she was obeying. Marla relaxed. But Serena's fingers moved differently, not like a nurse following orders, like a combat medic preparing a field intervention. She adjusted the tube in one sharp motion. The SEAL's breathing stabilized for a split second. Halverson stared. "What did you just do?" Serena didn't answer. The tactical leader stepped closer. "That's enough. We're taking him." He placed his hand on the gurney rail. Serena's voice finally changed, still quiet, but now edged like steel. "You touch him." She leaned closer to his helmeted face. "And you'll need a trauma bay too."
The room went dead silent. The contractor laughed once. A nurse threatening me? Serena raised her palm. The metal tag was visible between her fingers. The contractor's laugh died, because he recognized it, and the fear in his eyes proved everything. Part 3 ended with the contractor slowly stepping back and whispering into his comms, "Target confirmed. Nightingale is here."
Everyone expected Serena to panic, to cry, to step aside, to become small again. But Serena Blake didn't move like a hospital nurse anymore. She moved like someone who had survived rooms much worse than this one. The contractor leader raised his hand slightly, not at Serena, at his men. A silent signal. Serena saw it instantly. Her eyes tracked their positions, their angles, their hands. One to her left near the supply cabinet, one behind Halverson, one closest to the gurney. They were forming a triangle, a containment formation. Security guard Leon burst into the bay at that moment, breathless. "Doc, we got 3 unidentified—" He froze when he saw the weapons. Serena acted fast. She grabbed a saline bag off the IV pole and swung it into the nearest man's face. Plastic cracked, liquid sprayed. The man stumbled, blinded. Serena stepped into Leon, pushing him down and away, moving him like a civilian out of danger. Then she reached for the crash cart, not for medicine, but for tools. Halverson shouted, "What are you doing?" Serena didn't answer. Her fingers found the defibrillator paddles. The closest man grabbed the gurney and tried to pull the seal. Serena slammed the paddles to his chest and fired. A sharp crack, a violent jolt. The man screamed and collapsed. Even Dr. Klein whispered, "Oh my God." Serena turned her head slightly. "Stay behind me." It wasn't a request, it was a command. The remaining contractor lifted his weapon. Serena grabbed an oxygen tank from the corner and rolled it hard across the floor like a bowling ball. It slammed into his ankle. He went down with a grunt. The leader raised his weapon toward Serena, but Serena was already moving. She flicked a syringe from the anesthesia tray, precise and measured. She jabbed his exposed wrist. He cursed. "What is that?" Serena leaned in close, voice calm. "Ketamine." His pupils widened. He staggered, hands shaking, knees weakening. His body betrayed him. Serena stepped around him like he wasn't a threat anymore. Then she reached for the crash cart, not for medicine, but for tools. Halverson shouted, "What are you doing?" Serena didn't answer. Her fingers found the defibrillator paddles. The closest man grabbed the gurney and tried to pull the seal. Serena slammed the paddles to his chest and fired. A sharp crack, a violent jolt. The man screamed and collapsed. Even Dr. Klein whispered, "Oh my God." Serena turned her head slightly. "Stay behind me." It wasn't a request, it was a command. The remaining contractor lifted his weapon. Serena grabbed an oxygen tank from the corner and rolled it hard across the floor like a bowling ball. It slammed into his ankle. He went down with a grunt. The leader raised his weapon toward Serena, but Serena was already moving. She flicked a syringe from the anesthesia tray, precise and measured. She jabbed his exposed wrist. He cursed. "What is that?" Serena leaned in close, voice calm. "Ketamine." His pupils widened. He staggered, hands shaking, knees weakening. His body betrayed him. Serena stepped around him like he wasn't a threat anymore. Then she looked at the seal. He was fading, still dying. Halverson finally snapped out of shock. "We need to intubate now." Serena's gaze pinned him. "You intubate wrong, he dies." Halverson bristled. "I'm the surgeon." Serena cut him off. "You're a surgeon on a stage." She pointed to the wound. "This is a field shot, angled for bleed out. Whoever did it expected the hospital to finish the job." Halverson swallowed, because she was right. Serena stepped closer to the seal. Her hands were steady. Her voice became soft for him alone. "Stay with me," she whispered. The seal's lips moved. "Sorry, I came here." Serena's throat tightened, because she knew what he meant. He came here because he remembered her, and now she was exposed. Outside in the hallway, alarms blared. Code Black protocol escalated. Steel doors clanged shut across units. But Serena knew something worse. Contractors didn't come as 3 unless the real team was bigger. This was just the probe. She looked toward the trauma bay door and saw another shadow approaching. A 4th man, bigger,
better armed. He wasn't wearing hospital scrubs. He wore a military patch, a patch Serena hadn't seen in years. Her stomach dropped, because that patch belonged to her old unit.
The fourth man stepped into Trauma Bay 1 like a ghost from Serena's buried life. His gear was cleaner, his posture sharper, his presence heavier, and on his shoulder, a black patch with a symbol only a few people on Earth could recognize. Serena's pulse stayed controlled, but her soul didn't. That patch didn't belong in a hospital. It belonged in a classified war. The man's eyes locked on Serena. Then they flicked to the seal, then back to Serena. He didn't look surprised. He looked satisfied. "Serena Blake," he said, voice low. Or should I say, Nightingale. Marla sucked in a breath like she'd just watched a mask fall. Halverson's face went slack. What the hell is he talking about? The man walked closer. He didn't point his gun. He didn't need to. He spoke like he already owned the outcome. "You have something that belongs to us," he said. "Give it to me and you can go back to your quiet little night shift." Serena's fingers purled around the metal tag in her pocket. She didn't move. "You're in a hospital," Serena said. "You don't get to extract anyone here." He smiled. "This hospital is already ours." Serena's gaze snapped to the ceiling camera, red light blinking, then to the trauma bay monitor, still black, then to Marla. Marla was pale now, but not confused. Guilty. Serena saw it clearly. Marla didn't just bully nurses. Marla was the inside contact. The man continued. "The seal is a liability. He went off script. He tried to hand a file to the wrong people." Serena's breath slowed. "File." Halverson stepped forward, angry. "You're talking like this is some spy movie. This man is dying." The man glanced at Halverson like he was a fly. "He's already dead." Then he looked at Serena again and said something that made her blood turn cold. "You thought you erased yourself." He tapped the patch. "We never erase assets. We track them." Marla suddenly spoke, voice shaking. "She's just a nurse. She's nothing here." The man glanced at Marla. "You were told to keep her quiet. You failed." Marla's mouth opened. Fear flooded her face. Serena realized the truth. Marla had been given a job. Keep Serena low. Keep her invisible. Keep her inside hospital walls until she was needed or destroyed. All this time, the humiliation, the mockery, it wasn't random, it was containment. The man stepped closer to Serena, lowering his voice. "You have two choices." He nodded towards the seal. "Let him die." Then he nodded towards Serena. "And keep your new life." His eyes hardened. "Or save him and lose everything." Serena stared at the seal. His breathing was shallow. He was slipping. Serena's chest ached because she already knew what she would do. She turned to Halverson. "Prep OR." Halverson blinked. "You're not authorized." Serena cut him off with one sharp look. "You want him alive? Listen." Halverson hesitated, then obeyed. The man with the patch smiled faintly. He lifted his radio. "Phase 2, he said, and suddenly, from outside in the corridor, gunfire erupted. Screams, footsteps running. The entire hospital shook with chaos. Part 5 ended as Serena realized this wasn't extraction anymore. It was a full-scale takeover, and she was the target. Mercy General became a cage in seconds. Gunfire echoed through the ER wing. Patients screamed behind locked doors. Nurses hid in supply closets. The intercom kept repeating the same dead phrase. "Code Black, shelter in place." But Serena knew shelter was a lie. If a contractor team wanted you, nowhere inside a hospital was safe. Serena ran with the gurney team toward the ICU elevator. The SEAL was barely conscious. Halverson pushed from one side, panting, his ego replaced by panic.
Leon, the security guard, stayed close, shaking but determined. Marla was nowhere. Of course she wasn't. Serena's mind filed it away. Traitor. The elevator doors opened, and Serena stopped dead. Inside the elevator stood two men in Mercy General security uniforms, but Serena's eyes went straight to their boots. Wrong kind. Military tread, no hospital scuffs. Disguised. She grabbed the gurney handles and yanked it back. "Stop," she shouted. Halverson snapped. "What are you doing?" The fake guard smiled. Then he drew a gun. Serena shoved Halverson hard into the wall, knocking him down, and kicked the elevator emergency button. Doors tried to close. The fake guard lunged. Serena swung a metal IV pole like a staff, fast, brutal, smashing his wrist. Gun clattered to the floor. The second fake guard raised his weapon. Serena pulled an oxygen mask from the gurney, snapped the elastic around his face like a choke loop, and yanked him forward. He stumbled. Serena drove her elbow into his throat. He dropped. Leon stared at her like she was a stranger. Serena didn't look back. "Help me move him, now." They ran for the ICU stairwell instead. And that's when Serena heard the sound that made her blood turn cold. Her own name being announced over the hospital speakers. Not code black, not an emergency broadcast. A message. "All staff and security, be advised. Nurse Serena Blake is armed and dangerous. She has assaulted personnel. Do not approach." Halverson froze mid-step. "What? What the hell?" Leon's face twisted in confusion. "That's you." Serena's stomach sank. This was the twist she feared. They weren't just hunting her, they were making her the villain. Serena's eyes flashed to the ceiling camera above the stairwell door. Red, blinking, recording. But in whose hands? They reached ICU doors, only to find them locked from the inside. A nurse screamed through the glass. "We can't open! Security said Serena Blake is trying to infiltrate the unit." Serena wanted to scream, but she didn't. She pushed her face close to the glass, voice calm. "I'm a night nurse here. You know me. Open the door." The nurse's hands trembled. Then, behind her, someone stepped into frame. Marla Voss, smiling, holding a phone up like she was filming Serena. Marla spoke through the glass, sweet as poison. "Look at you, Serena." She tilted her head. "You finally showed your true face." Serena's fists clenched. Marla turned to the nurse at the door. "Do not open. She's unstable. She attacked staff. She stole a VIP patient." Serena stared at Marla with deadly clarity. So this was the plan. Frame her, isolate her, turn the hospital against her, then eliminate her as self-defense. Serena leaned toward Marla, whispering through the glass, "You're involved." Marla's smile deepened. "I'm employed, unlike you, after tonight." Then she lifted her voice, performing for the camera. "Serena, put the weapon down. We can help you." Serena realized something worse. Marla had planned this for months, maybe years. The seal suddenly convulsed, blood seeping through the dressing again. Serena turned away from the glass, mind racing. No ICU access, hospital security compromised. She was now officially a threat. She needed a place no one would search first. Her eyes snapped to a sign down the corridor, silent, "Morgue." Serena grabbed the gurney and said, "We go cold." Halverson's eyes widened. "You're insane." Serena's voice turned sharp. "You want him alive? Move." They ran toward the morgue. Behind them, the intercom crackled one more time. "Authorized personnel, shoot to stop." Part 6 ended as Serena pushed open the morgue door, and inside, standing beside the body drawers, was the man with the patch. Waiting.
The morgue smelled like bleach and cold metal. The air felt heavier, like it swallowed sound. Serena rolled the gurney in and stopped. The man with the patch leaned casually against a stainless table, like he was meeting her for coffee. "You always were predictable," he said. Serena's eyes narrowed. You staged the announcement. He shrugged. It worked. They hate you now. They'll hunt you for me. Halverson stood behind Serena, shaking. You know him? He whispered. Serena didn't answer. Her eyes tracked exits. One morgue door, one oxygen line on the wall, one cabinet of chemicals, 2 body drawers slightly open. Then Serena saw it. A camera, hidden in the corner. Marla wasn't just filming from outside. The morgue was already compromised. The man stepped forward slowly. Give me the tag, he said, and the seal. Serena's hand slipped into her pocket. She felt the metal, and she made her decision. I'm not giving you anything. He smiled. I wasn't asking. In one fast motion, he pulled his weapon. Halverson screamed and ducked. Leon raised his gun but hesitated. He wasn't trained for this kind of predator. Serena moved. She yanked open a body drawer with her foot. The cold tray slid out like a weapon platform. She shoved it into the man's legs. He stumbled back half a step. That half step saved her life, because the bullet hit the metal drawer instead of her chest. Serena grabbed a syringe off the morgue cart, formalin syringe used for tissue preservation. She jammed it into his exposed neck. He hissed. Ah! Serena whispered, You chose the wrong room. He swung his pistol toward her. Serena grabbed a scalpel. Not theatrical, not slow. Sharp, clean, necessary. She sliced his gun hand, deep enough to drop the weapon. Blood hit the morgue floor. The man grunted in pain but didn't fall. He was trained. He slammed his elbow into Serena's ribs. Serena stumbled. Pain flashed. But she didn't break, because this wasn't her first close fight. She grabbed an oxygen tank and slammed the valve open. A violent blast of oxygen hissed out. The man flinched. Serena kicked the tank sideways, rolling it into his legs. He lost balance and hit the metal table hard. Leon finally fired. One shot. It hit the man's shoulder. He roared. Serena stepped close, eyes cold. You don't get to own me. The man spit blood and laughed through it. Still loyal to your oath? Serena leaned in. I'm loyal to the innocent. Then she grabbed the seal's gurney, pulling it deeper into the morgue corridors. Halverson chased her. We can't keep running. Serena snapped. Then stop being slow. They moved past cold drawers, past curtains, past death. And then Serena saw something that made her skin go icy. A body bag on a tray, half-zipped. Inside was a man in Mercy General scrubs. His eyes were open, staring, alive, gagged. He blinked at Serena in panic. Halverson gasped. That's Dr. Nolan. He's been missing since yesterday. Serena's mind clicked. This wasn't just about the seal. It was about a secret operation inside Mercy General, a lab, a cover-up, and they were killing anyone who got close. Serena bent over the gagged doctor. Who did this? She whispered. The doctor shook violently, eyes wet. Then he mouthed 2 words. Serena read his lips. Voss, basement. Serena straightened. Basement, secret lab, oxygen room access, old tunnels, a place contractors could hide. Serena turned to Leon and Halverson. We're going down. Halverson's voice cracked. Why? Serena's eyes hardened. Because if we don't, this hospital becomes their black site. Behind them, the man with the patch groaned and lifted his radio with a trembling hand. He whispered into it. She's heading to the basement. Then his lips twisted into a smile. Release the footage. Serena didn't hear him, but upstairs in the admin office, screens lit up. CCTV footage, edited, showing Serena attacking staff. the hospital board watching in horror, the police being called, and the FBI receiving one file title. The basement of Mercy General wasn't like the rest of the hospital. No bright lights, no comforting signs, no cameras in plain sight, just concrete, pipes, a long corridor humming like an engine. Serena wheeled the seal in quietly. His breathing was weaker now. Halverson looked ready to break. "I don't understand any of this," he whispered. "Who are you?" Serena didn't answer, because the truth would change everything. They reached a door marked "Oxygen Storage, Authorized Personnel Only." Serena touched the handle. Warm. Someone had been in here recently. She pushed it open. Inside, rows of oxygen tanks stood like silent soldiers, and in the back corner, a steel door with a keypad. Not hospital standard, private security grade. Serena stared. "This is the lab," she murmured. Leon swallowed. A lab under the hospital? Serena stepped closer. Then she heard it. A faint voice, female. "Marla." "She's down here. She has the patient." "Yes, I confirm. End it." Serena's jaw clenched. So Marla wasn't running to escape. She was running to destroy evidence. Or worse, release something. Serena turned to Halverson. "You know how to do a field chest tube?" Halverson blinked. "A what?" Serena snapped. "Answer." Halverson hesitated. "Yes." Serena nodded toward the seal. "You do it now. If he crashes, he's dead." Halverson shakily began prepping. Serena went to the oxygen tanks. She examined valves, positions, pressure. Then she pulled a roll of tape from her pocket, medical tape, and taped 2 tanks together. Leon stared. "What are you doing?" Serena looked at him. Her voice was calm like prayer. "Building a distraction." Footsteps echoed from the corridor. Multiple, heavy boots. The contractors were closing in. Serena slid behind the oxygen racks, motioning Leon to stay low. Then the first contractor entered the oxygen room. He scanned, gun up, silent. Then another. 4 men. Too many. Serena's mind calculated angles like she was solving surgery. She grabbed a small anesthesia canister from Halverson's kit. She punctured it slightly. The smell hissed out. She rolled it like a grenade under the racks. The contractors noticed too late. One coughed. "What the?" Serena rushed out, slammed a tank valve open, and kicked the oxygen tanks she'd taped. They rolled together like a missile toward the center of the room. Then Serena flicked a defib spark pad she'd stolen earlier onto the leaking canister. A spark, a flash, a brutal boom. Not a Hollywood fireball, a concussive blast that knocked men off their feet and tore their hearing away. Steel clanged, glass shattered, alarms began screaming. Leon covered his ears, eyes wide. Serena didn't flinch. She ran straight through smoke. She slammed her knee into the first contractor's face. She grabbed his gun, stripped the magazine, tossed it away. The second contractor raised his weapon. Serena threw a surgical scissors at his hand. It hit. Gun dropped. Serena snatched an IV line, looped it around his throat from behind, and yanked him backward. He collapsed, choking. Halverson shouted, "Serena, the tube!" Serena turned. The SEAL's monitor flatlined for a terrifying second. Halverson's hands shook. "I can't." Serena sprinted back, shoved Halverson aside, and took over. Her fingers moved like she'd done this 100 times in darkness. Tube placed, seal secured, breath returned. The monitor beeped again. Life restored. Halverson stared at her with stunned fear. You did that like..." Serena cut him off. "Because I have." Then the steel keypad door behind them clicked, unlocked, slowly opening from the inside. A man stepped out in a lab coat, Dr. Nolan, but not gagged, not scared.
smiling. He held a phone up, recording Serena like a trophy. "Perfect," he said softly. "This is exactly what we needed." Serena froze, because the missing doctor wasn't a victim. He was part of it, and he just captured her proof. Part 8 ended as Nolan whispered into his phone. "Send this to the FBI. Tell them Nightingale is active."
Dr. Nolan's smile was wrong. Too controlled, too satisfied. Serena stepped forward, voice deadly quiet. "You were never missing." Nolan shrugged. "Missing is useful. People ask fewer questions." He nodded toward the seal. "And that man, he asked too many." Halverson stood up, shaking with rage now. "You're murdering patients." Nolan laughed softly. "Patients?" He looked offended. "That's cute. This hospital is a pipeline, a research station, a laundering system. You're just staff." Leon aimed his gun at Nolan. "Hands up." Nolan didn't react, because he wasn't afraid of Leon. He was afraid of Serena. Nolan's eyes locked on Serena's wrists, on her scars. "You really thought you could hide in plain sight," Nolan said. "A level 1 trauma center was always the perfect cage for you." Serena's mind clicked. This wasn't just about silencing a seal. It was about controlling her. Nolan pointed his phone at her again. "And now I have footage of you assaulting contractors, stealing equipment, sabotaging oxygen storage." He smiled wider. "You're going to prison as a terrorist nurse." Serena's face stayed calm, but inside, rage burned hot. Then Serena heard it, the distant thump of helicopters. Not 1, 2, 3. The building vibrated lightly. Leon's eyes widened. "That's military." Nolan's smile faded slightly. Then the basement intercom crackled. Not Mercy General's voice, not Code Black. A calm, commanding voice with authority that made the air feel smaller. "This is U.S. Army Command. Mercy General is under federal seizure. All personnel stand down." Nolan went pale. Footsteps pounded down the basement corridor, heavy, organized, trained. A tactical team poured into the oxygen room, real soldiers this time, not contractors. Their rifles were raised, their eyes scanned everything. They stopped when they saw Serena. Then one soldier stepped forward. He was older, high rank, steel gray hair, sharp eyes like a man who'd ordered missions and buried bodies. He wore a uniform that made Halverson's jaw drop. A general. The general stared at Serena for one long second. Then he did something that shocked everyone in that room. He lowered his weapon and gave Serena a silent hand signal. A signal no civilian knew. A classified signal. Serena's hand twitched. Her body responded automatically. She returned the signal. The general exhaled, like he finally found a missing piece. He spoke quietly. "Nightingale." Halverson stepped back in disbelief. Who is she?" The general didn't answer him. His gaze moved to the seal on the gurney. The seal barely opened his eyes. When he saw the general, tears formed. "Sir, I got it out." Serena held up the metal tag. The general's eyes sharpened. He nodded once. "You did." Then his gaze snapped to Nolan. Nolan raised his hands fast. "General, this is a misunderstanding." The general didn't even look at him for long. He gave one short order. "Arrest him, secure the lab, find Marla Voss." 2 soldiers grabbed Nolan hard. Nolan screamed, "She attacked us, she—" The general finally looked back at Serena. His voice softened. "I owe you an apology." Serena's eyes stayed cold. "You owe the dead an apology." The general nodded like he accepted it. Then he turned to his team leader. "Lock down every exit. No one leaves." A soldier shouted from the corridor, "Sir, Marla Voss is missing. She's headed to admin with a burner laptop."
Serena's stomach tightened. Marla wasn't running to escape. She was running to destroy evidence. Or worse, release something. Serena stepped forward immediately. "I'm going after her." The general grabbed Serena's arm, gently but firmly. "You're compromised. They'll blame you." Serena looked at him. Her voice became a blade. "They already did." She turned and ran.
Marla Voss stood at the top of the stairwell like a woman who had finally revealed her real face. The gun in her hand didn't shake. Her makeup was smudged. Her eyes were bright with panic and hatred. In front of her was a teenage patient in a hospital gown, trembling, crying. Marla held him by the collar like a shield. "Stop!" Marla shrieked when she saw Serena. "One more step and I'll drop him." Serena froze mid-stare. Her breathing slowed. Her voice softened. "Marla, it's over." Marla laughed bitterly. "No, it's just starting. You ruined everything." Behind Marla, the admin hallway doors were open. Serena saw the glow of computer screens inside. Hospital CCTV servers. Evidence. Marla had been the gatekeeper, and now she was trying to burn the truth before anyone could see it. Serena took one step up, slowly. Marla screamed, "I said stop." The teen sobbed, "Please, please." Serena felt a sharp ache inside her chest. Not fear, memory. This was why she became a nurse, not to hide, to protect. Serena raised her hands slightly, not surrendering, just showing calm. "Marla," Serena said gently, "you don't want to shoot a kid." Marla's voice cracked. "I don't want to die in prison." Serena nodded once. "I know." Marla blinked, confused, like she expected Serena to mock her. But Serena didn't. Serena's eyes flicked to Marla's grip. Index finger on trigger, left hand holding collar. No training, pure desperation. Serena took another step. Marla tightened her grip and backed toward the admin office. "Stay back." Serena's gaze locked on the teen. "Close your eyes," Serena said softly. The teen obeyed. Serena moved, not fast, not dramatic, precise. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small vial, anesthesia. She flicked it to the floor. Glass shattered. A sharp chemical smell filled the air. Marla coughed, blinking. Serena lunged in the same breath. She grabbed the gun barrel with one hand, twisted it upward, and slammed a stethoscope around Marla's neck like a wire. Marla gagged, eyes bulging. Serena used the stair railing as leverage, tightening just enough to disable, not kill. The gun clattered to the floor. The teen screamed and ran. Marla clawed at Serena's arm. Serena leaned close, whispering only for Marla. "You humiliated me because you thought I was weak." Marla wheezed. You were supposed to stay quiet." Serena's eyes went ice cold. "I did, until lives depended on it." Footsteps thundered behind Serena. The general's team flooded the stairwell. Leon and Halverson followed, stunned, watching Serena hold Marla like a controlled takedown. The general spoke with quiet fury. "Marla Voss, you're under arrest for conspiracy, attempted murder, and federal treason." Marla spat blood. "She's the criminal. She's Nightingale." The general looked at Serena, then looked at his team. "Secure the servers, pull every camera feed, upload to the press." Nolan's edited footage was dead now. The truth was coming. Halverson stared at Serena like his world had split open. "Serena, who are you?" Serena finally met his eyes. Her voice stayed gentle. "A nurse." Halverson shook his head. "No, you're not just—" Serena cut him off. "I'm exactly what this hospital forgot to respect."
The general approached her quietly. "You saved Bluebird again." Serena didn't smile. She looked down at her hands. Hands that had held life. Hands that had held death. Then she did something no one expected. She removed her badge. Serena Blake, RN. She placed it on the admin desk. Halverson panicked. "Wait, you can't leave. You're a hero." Serena's eyes hardened with sadness. "Heroes don't survive places like mine." The seal, now stabilized, was rolled past on a gurney. He opened his eyes just enough to see her. He mouthed 2 words. "Thank you." Serena nodded once. No tears, just truth. Outside, dawn light began to bleed into the windows. Police and federal agents swarmed the hospital grounds. Reporters gathered. Mercy General would become national news. A scandal, a corruption case, a hidden lab under a trauma center. And at the center of it, a quiet night nurse. Serena walked toward the staff exit. Leon called out, voice breaking. "Serena, where will you go?" Serena paused at the door. She didn't turn around. She only said one line, soft as a warning. "Some wounds don't heal in hospitals." Then she disappeared into the morning fog. Later that day, the press would repeat the same sentence across every headline, and Mercy General staff would never forget it again.